The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
The 44 gets loose off of corner number 4. It's going to be a photo finish to the line in the grass, but the 44 will hang on for the win. Here he comes with the crossover. Felison to the inside. Is it going to be a Las Vegas photo finish? They touch. They wreck. Who's going to get it? Upside down. Who's going to get it?
Felison gets it.
Ooh, by himself. Now he has the 72 of O'Connor. It's going to be a 2v2 race to the checkers. 2 up top, 2 to the bottom. It's going to be Ingram. It's going to be Rainville. Who's going to get it at the stripe? Photo finish. It's going to be Rainville. Is there enough? This is going to be a close finish. What is going to happen? Is there enough fuel to get him around 2 more corners? He didn't have enough. The final corner. There goes Zach Nichols. Sarah ran out with 3 corners to go, and Zach Nichols will win here at Mostport. And is he going to go for the last-ditch effort? Is he going to use the back bumper? What will Devin Serra do? We head into corner number 3. He's going to sail it on in there. Does he get to the bumper? He turns him. He turns it for the win. He wrecks him. We saw how ruddy, is that a word? Ruddy?
I don't know. Just go with it.
All right, we'll go with it. We've seen how ruddy turn 3 is getting. And
so these guys, once again, doubled up, stacked up, and ready to go back green flag racing here behind the iRacing.com Facebook pace car.
Don't know where that came from, but we'll let it slide.
What was I thinking?
Loudon, New Hampshire, small town in the Northeast, has been holding NASCAR races since 1990 on the famed Magic Mile, 1.058 miles around, long straightaways with paperclip corners, but it also has been known for the road course version as well. It uses a little bit of the actual oval, and then is one of the very rare ovals to actually have an exterior section for the road course, where they'll go up and down a hill and back into the racetrack. So that's where we are going to be located tonight here on PTR TV. We have the Superior Class Auto Racing Radical Series here for a 50-minute race here at the New Hampshire Road Course. It's going to be myself, Corey Silva, running a one-man solo show here tonight, so hope you do enjoy it. We'll do the best we can and give you, hopefully, an exciting race with these SCAR guys. We do have, looks like 9 guys who will be here to take time with us here today, and they are currently qualifying right now, as we'll give you just the results at about 2 or 3 minutes time. But again, myself, Corey Silva, running the cameras and in the booth here tonight. I want to give a thanks to everyone for tuning in here on Facebook here this evening, as opposed to our traditional YouTube. So trying something a little bit different for these guys. So we'll just kind of see if anybody is still on the racetrack now, so we can go ahead and kind of give you that perspective of what this racetrack does have to offer. This is Jason Nethery in the number 34 machine. Again, this is the oval 3 and 4 section. On the infield part of it, you do have to kind of run a little kink section rather than running the actual oval 3 and 4. But you will be using the NASCAR section for this configuration of Loudon. You will be running the oval in 1 and 2. There's multiple different road variants here at Loudon. So the one that we have does allow us to run the turn 1 oval and 2, and then we will exit the facility on the backstretch and kind of have a fun little carousel section out there. So right now, that was the end of qualifying officially, and now they are in essentially a cool down time, where if anybody is on track, they do have the ability to finish those laps, but it doesn't look like anybody is here to do so. Now, our weather conditions here tonight at the Magic Mile, rather, at least from a virtual standpoint, it is actually morning conditions here. But, of course, if you're watching this live, we are at night, but 80 degrees in the air, 81 on track. I would expect that track temp to go up just a little bit over the course of the race as time does elapse. And very, very humid, 91%. Almost shocked that there's not some fog here, but no real wind to speak of. And, of course, our race here at Loudon, our Roval races do have a competition caution in them. That usually happens right at the halfway point. We are running fixed setup 50-minute races. On our Roval races, there is a a competition caution, so we'll look forward to that to bunch the field back together on that halfway point. And we do have 2 penalties that will be assessed that we'll talk about on the grid. But right now, these guys are getting ready to get down trackside for our starting lineup. So let's go ahead and give it to you. The PTR TV starting lineup for the SCAR Radical Series. On tonight's poll, with that lap time of 55.911 seconds. Going to offer our congratulations to David Tamira. Jason Nethery on the outside of the front row. In the 3rd spot, league admin Steve Singer. And then we have Brian Rose in that 4th spot. In 5th, we have Kevin Feemster. Vincent Short going to be in the 6th position. 7th, Eddie Rose. Zach Millett, he's going to be in 8th. And Mark Truxell will be the 9th person on our grid here tonight. I don't have a good camera here, apparently. There we go. That one will do justice. We'll have 1 full pace lap to get around this place, and I do want to bring up our penalties. There is a win penalty that is presented in the series. So basically, when you win a race, to kind of stop one guy from just going and sweeping the whole field, there are kind of these win penalties that are assessed that do kind of help to keep the guys in check and, kind of offer a fair level of competition and add a little challenge. So with Zach Millett having 2 wins, he was not allowed to qualify, and he will get an EOL both on the first half and the second half of the race. And Singer, with his win at Watkins Glen 2 weeks ago, he will, I think he may have run a qualifying lap, but he will have an EOL and start back there with Millett. But with an only 9-car grid, the pace, I'm not too too sure about who's going to have the pace. The times were relatively close, so this is a track that does have a fair amount of passing opportunities, so should be some fair amount of time to be able to get those positions back. And again, with that competition caution, definitely will do a lot to facilitate that. But we are rolling here at Loudon. The pace car will start rolling and collect these guys together so that they can get this race underway. That very, very exotically painted car of David Tamira will be our control vehicle. He will start to the inside. You will be able to get a very good perspective of this New Hampshire Motor Speedway road course configuration. So you can see we're coming off of turn number 2 there. Oval 1 and 2, so those numbers are still accurate. But here we are. We're going to dive to the left and set ourselves up for a sharp right-hander. And here we are going to head to the outfield section. I'm going to go up the hill here, a sharp elevation change. Now we're behind the back straightaway. And we're going to go through a slight right-hand kink, a slight little right-hand kink, and then we're going to have this nice, it's very fun. I quite enjoy this corner. It's a carousel. It does have some banking to it. Very, very easy to get into the dirt there on the far right and kick yourself sideways. So these guys will have to try very hard to avoid that from happening. But a little right-hander here, no concern. And then you will start the process of downhill exiting the outfield. And then right here, very big curb there. Very easy to get the car on its side and in the air, and not handling as you would prefer. And then we will come into the little flick section, little chicanes in the interior of oval 3 and 4, and that is a lap around Loudon. But the pace car is going to be into pit road. Tamira is going to get this race underway. Green, green, green. We're racing here at Loudon. The oval section here is very difficult in these machines. You do have a lot of throttle control involved, which a lot of these guys are not used to. But Tamira is going to be the first on the binders to get into the right-hander exiting the facility. And who is that? Jason Nethery kind of kicked some cones over there, but so far so good. He is all right. Feemster in that third spot in the number 9 machine had a slight run from Brian Rose. Feemster is going to lock up the brakes there heading into the carousel, but he is going to luckily have Rose react very quickly to avoid any issues there. Vincent Short just behind him, and up front looks like Nethery is doing a very good job to hang with Tamira. Tamira is going to get very loose there, and now he's going to potentially lose the lead. To the outside goes Nethery here. They're going to be side by side at the line. Tamira did get the lap led. Now they're going to dive off into oval turn 1. That flat, well, right on that white line is very, very flat. Tamira having some connectivity issues there, but it's very flat here at Loudon. On the NASCAR configurations here, you won't see too many drivers running right there on that yellow line. Now, you typically want to be a lane up because that's where the banking does start. But these radicals are very, very high downforce machines. They may be able to tolerate that a little bit better. Going back, remember Zach Millett. Remember he had that EOL. He's going to be 5th now. He's about 5 seconds back. Steve Singer in 6th. So far, so good. Everybody is still running on track. Nobody had any incidents, at least that we caught on camera already. I don't see anybody completely off the pace to a substantial degree, so good signs in that capacity. But again, you can see here, looks like the exit of the corner, these drivers are, starting to run a little bit lower in the oval sections of the track that I would have anticipated, but that's just maybe how the cookie crumbles here. See, we'll go on board with Nethery, a 2nd place position at the moment. See that right here on the far right of your screen, that little dirt section there, very, very easy to get yourself loose and spun around. I've done that too often. And right here, many different ways. There's so many different ways to apex that downhill left-hander to set yourself up. And again, this Loudon track, it challenges you so much because you never know If you just go that little bit too hard, you might end up looping it around, or you might just leave too much on the table. So this track really does challenge you in the capacity of, just how hard do you want to push at any given moment. Closest battle on track looks like it's Steve Singer in the number 6 machine, currently running in 6th. Vincent Short in the 5th spot. Short in that 15 machine. He's going to just relinquish the spot, no contestment to Singer. Singer will take the 5th spot, but does have over 4.5 seconds before he can catch up to Millet. Millet in that 3:15, he is about 5.6 seconds off of your lead, and actually running a fair bit slower than Tamira, so maybe he doesn't have the pace here at Loudon, but we'll see over the course of the evening if that does change. So we're expecting, based on the telemetry that I do have, that this will be approximately a 50-ish lap race. It is fully registering as a 53 lap race, again just using the exact telemetry, but what iRacing doesn't fully know is that we do have that competition caution, and it is kind of a known entity that Robles on iRacing, for some reason, they do have kind of wonky caution. Sometimes they take a fair bit of time, so it'll be interesting to see how much of the race does potentially get eaten up under that condition. But good, just going all the way through and showing everybody on a screen here if we can. See, even back there in that 9th spot, Eddie Rose, not really running the best laps. He's running about 6 seconds off of what everybody else is running in terms of pace. But, the most important thing is getting that experience and getting that time and just ultimately having fun. That's obviously what this is all about. Even if you can't go for the win, at the very least, enjoy what you are doing. So Kevin Feemster in 8th. And, for the most part, we'll switch over the ticker to show our lap times right now. Zach Millet had a flyer last time at a 56 flat, as he is starting to eat into the deficit. But everybody's pretty much in that 56, mid 56, maybe low 57 bracket. So most of these drivers are, relatively close to each other. But we do have that battle shaping up for position, as Rose has met the company of Zach Millet. So we'll see if Rose is able to hold off, and I don't believe that he's going to be able to hold off for too long. As here comes Millet to the outside in oval 1 and 2. I don't know why it's my cameras are sticking here, but there go. Yeah, that Millet did just take the outside in the oval, and that will give him the spot. Now he will set his sights on Jason Nethery. Our point standings thus far. Millet is our points leader by 14 points over Singer. Tyler Kokeo is in 3rd, but he is not present here today. And Tamira is tied with Kokeo, so that will automatically, by default, give Tamira the at least that 1 position, which will help out in the standings. We do have a 12-race season running bi-weekly until about the end of September. And Millet still running those very competitive lap times in the 56-second time bracket. So absolutely flying around this place. So we do have, again, this race here today, and of course, if you are watching this live, you do know that, on iRacing, we do have our season build coming up, so I'll be interested to see if anything comes up in the build that will affect this series. We are expecting some NASCAR updates pertaining to some tire model updates and a new damage model, some restart zones, and we are waiting for the roadside for our ever imminent rain. still hasn't come out, but we are waiting for it any time now. Has been teased for this year. I'm sure that they would, in the series, run a rain race if it indeed had the ability to happen. So, see what happens there. And for some reason, I don't know why, whenever I cover this series, my overlays just seem to go absolutely wonky. And they're doing just that again. So we may have to cut them for a brief moment and restart them. So apologies for those folks. We do like Brian Rose in the number 89, but we don't want to show him exclusively forever, so just waiting for my cameras to switch over here. But again, we are 10 minutes into the race right now. Not too much going on. Remember, we got a 9-car grid. So far, everybody is still running and still on the racetrack. Just restarting my software here in the background, so that way we can show somebody besides Brian Rose. There we go, back to relative normalcy. We through that little freeze of action that we did have, Nethery did lose a spot to Millet, so Millet is now on the charge to see what he can do in relation to closing in to our race leader. We are about 15 minutes from our halfway caution, so whether he can gain that time in 15 minutes is of course to be announced, but at the current pace he's running about 3 to 4 tenths a lap faster, so should be pretty close whether or not he is able to do so. So we'll see what indeed does happen. But throughout the field, we can have Nethery, Rose, who we focused on unintentionally for quite some time, Vincent Short, Mark Truxell, Kevin Feemster. Steve Singer must have had an issue of some sort, because now he is back to the 8th position, and he was running, I believe, at 5th, so not too sure what got him. And actually, you can see on the left rear of that car, there was some damage, so he must have had something go wrong, unfortunately for him. But I do believe they do have that fast repair in this series, so they will be able to use that. And Singer can definitely get that thing fixed up on our comp caution. Tamira and that 14 machine currently up front, as we said, and all in all having a decent season. He did have a podium run. I want to say it was at Watkins Glen. If not Watkins Glen, it was a race or two before that. Maybe it was Iowa. But he did have a podium run, does have some speed, and I don't know if he'll have the speed to hold off Millet, but remember, Millet will also be forced to start tail end upon the completion of the comp caution. So that will be interesting to see if he can come back, because I do believe, as Eddie Rose just went a lap down, I do believe the race will be shorter than 25 minutes just due to the nature of the pace car. So it's kind of hard to focus on Tamira for an extended period of time just because he does have those connectivity issues. But it's gonna, and Millet, Zach the Hack Millet, as the nickname suggests here this evening, getting by Eddie Rose there on the outfield section. Not really too much going on here on the racetrack. Everybody's pretty well separated. Mark Truxell in the 5. I think he may have the closest proximity to anybody else in the field right now. Roughly about a second and a half behind Vincent Short. That would be 5th and 6th. looks like the Tamira has kept the pace with Millet pretty close now, so now he's not losing nearly as much of a lead as he once was, which is a good thing, of course. Focus on the 5 machine right now, because I do think he is closing in on short in that number 15 machine. So coming to complete yet another lap. Short last time by, ran a 57.451 to Mark Truxell's 57.362, so they are pretty close on time. It is pretty hard. I was trying to focus on the times up front, but again, Tamira is having his connectivity issues, which do actually kind of glitch the lap times on occasion. So unfortunately, we can't do that. I do believe Kevin Feemster in the 9 machine has disconnected from our event, so that does leave us with 8 cars on track right now. Tamira hanging on up front, been running laps very comparable to what Millet is running, so that lead that was deteriorating is now semi-stabilized at about 3 seconds right now. Still 7 guys on the lead lap. Eddie Rose is the only one lap down. Singer surprisingly back in that 7th spot. Remember that damage that we pointed out just a little bit ago. Truxell still trying to close in on short if he is able to. So far stuck at kind of that 1.2 second gap for that 5th spot, but we are within about 10 minutes of our competition caution, so that will allow these guys to get any damage repaired, fast repairs done that may be necessary. Let's see if tires do come into play. Not sure if that is something that they are worried about. Gap up front is starting to disintegrate just a little bit. We were at about 3.5 seconds. Now we're down to about 2.5. Last time by, lap times were about equal. It just seems that Tamira might just be making a few more mistakes. They have roughly the same pace, but Tamira is just making a few more mistakes, and over the course of the race, that does just lead into that gap naturally going down. So if he can run consistent, I think he may have this race in a good position, especially with Millet having to start at the tail end. Right now, again, I do want to point out that Singer being about 45 seconds behind with about 8 minutes to go, he is potentially in danger of going a lap down before the end of this thing, so before the end of the segment, so have to run some solid laps for Singer to avoid that in that number 6 machine running in that 7th spot. Truxell still hanging on there, hasn't made any progress, any inlays to short, although the gap is roughly a second. It's going up and down, and oh no, 15 machine got loose there, and well, that is going to allow Truxell to get into that 5th spot. Not quite the way he wanted to, but that is how the cookie crumbled right there. See if I can get it on replay, if things will allow me to here today. Let's See here on screen, he's just going through those chicanes towards the end of the lap, and didn't really take anything to cause it there. Just kind of a natural slow spin it was for short. About 7 minutes left before our competition caution. That lead now just 2 seconds for Tamira, so he's definitely going to have to pay some attention to the task at hand, because not wasting any time at all is Zach Millett. Now it's kind of an interesting position to be in if you are Zach Millett, because you're going to try so hard to get this lead, only to know that you're going to be in the exact same position at the second stage after the comp caution. So he's going to want to know that he can get there. Remember, we're going to have 25 minutes at the caution. My assumption based on our race at Iowa a few weeks ago is that we're only going to have about 15 minutes of action after the section, after the comp caution. We're only going to have 15 minutes or so of action, so that will cut into his ability to work into that lead. So, and that will be interesting to see how he does fare in that capacity. So far, again, not too much going on. We will go to a little break here once the caution does come out and these guys do get kind of situated out. Again, not too much to talk about, but remember, this series does run bi-weekly, and they are looking for some more drivers to help fill out these fields. So if you do enjoy the Radical SR8, again, feel free to check out either the Holler Boys Racing TV channel and Facebook page, or you can even shoot us a message and we can help you get yourself in the right track to find yourself on the track. But our next race will actually be, we are running back-to-back. So next week we will be at Mid-Ohio. That will be most certainly the toughest race on our schedule, because that track is absolutely relentless. Doesn't offer you any chance, any breaks whatsoever. It's very free-flowing, and of course, does just lead to some great racing. And here we are up front. Millett has caught Tamira with about 4 minutes to go in our first segment. Tamira is going to take that defensive line, or perhaps he's just going to let him go. Not quite sure. Entering, heading into the outfield section, going up the hill into the carousel. Let's see what Millett does and how aggressive he is. Again, he knows he's going to have to start the next segment at the tail end, so he does want, naturally you want to take the lead a little bit free there, it looks like, at the top of the hill. Tamira did run a tighter line through the downhill section, kind of gave him a better run into this left-hander, which ultimately is important because it sets you up and into the grass. There is Millett. He did lose a bunch of time, but he should be able to get the majority of it back through the slipstream. Actually, I thought he was going to get a lot more than he did, so scratch that logic. But we'll see what happens here heading into the exit of our oval section. Heading into the little right-hand kink there and going up the hill. A lot of bumps, a lot of undulations, a lot of transitions there. It's a lot harder than it appears to be. Last time by, Tamira actually about 4/10 faster than Millett, so definitely turning the wick up here towards the end of the segment. Coming and ticking off yet another lap right now, about 24 laps into tonight's race. Millett dropping back just a little bit now. Looks like either he's being cautious or Tamira has turn the wick up. Not too sure which of the two that it is. But most certainly, Tamira is running a much smoother pace now. Again, ironically enough, he's running a smoother pace now that he's in intense competition. But I know that does actually happen to me personally when I drive. I drive better when I know that I have a lot to do, when I have a lot going on that I have to focus on. It actually makes it easier to do exactly that. It makes it easier to focus at the task at hand when you have pressure. You're forced to be on your game at all times. When you have a huge lead, sometimes it's easy to kind of get distracted and make more mistakes, funnily enough. But coming to 26 minutes to go, so I think we may have about a little over a lap until our comp caution. Still 7 drivers on our lead lap. Eddie Rose is 2 laps down in 8th, and Kevin Feemster is in the 9th spot, but he is retired from our festivities here this evening. So we'll see if Millet does have enough to hang on to the spots, and if Tamira will make a mistake, if Millet does force the issue, if he can find a safe and effective way by is what we are looking for at the present. So exiting, look at Millet hopping those curbs there, but quite aggressively. Even the curbs on that section, he's getting all over it, and it's actually costing him more time. Tamira's running a lot more methodically, and it's working much more into his benefit, at least at the current moment. We'll see how accurate things are pertaining to our caution. Typically it comes out right at that 25-minute mark. So we'll see how accurate it is. Or looks like Tamira will hang on to it. Hang on to the lead, and again, Millet should be sent to the back. Just waiting for, I think there's 2 admin in the race. I believe it's Millet and Singer, and Singer, I just checked onto him very quickly, and something just happened to him, and ended up throwing him on his lid there. Not too sure what happened, but luckily for him, he does have that fast repair. And there is our competition caution. So now they do have to catch up to our leader, or rather to our pace car, excuse me. Sometimes it is a little bit finicky on these Rovals with the caution procedure, so hopefully it does end up working out smoothly, and we do get this process done rather quickly and efficiently, so that we don't cut too much into the second half of the race, because definitely want to see what Tamira can do, if he can hang on for the win, or if Millet's going to be able to go 8th, 7th, or 6th or 7th to 1st. In the remaining time that we do have. Pits should be closed this time, because we have yet to catch up to our pace car. Pace car likely is going to meet them in the oval, I would imagine. Yep, and there he is. Pace car is entering the track, so the field will come under command here at approximately 55 miles per hour. Through that little cycle of events, Singer did go a lap down, but he was, he did have that little issue there coming off of NASCAR 4. He was already about 47 seconds behind, and that did throw him just behind our race leader. So now he will be 1 lap down, so that's not good for his affairs here this evening. pit stops do shake out, and we will and cut to a brief break once the pits are cycled through, but we'll just try to see if anything of note does happen on our pit stops. There goes Singer getting a wave, and everybody else coming into the attention of their pit crews. See, it did look like Tamira did use his fast repair. You can see that quick damage pop in the right front. I think the curbs do enough damage here at Loudon to do that, but we'll focus on this just for a second. But Tamira will get out of the pits first. Going to go through a brief side-by-side break, and we'll be back with you for the restart. Stay with me. And we're back here, getting ready here. Pace car has turned the lights off, so we'll be going green on this next time around. It was actually a shorter sequence than I expected it to be, which obviously is a good thing for all involved because it means we get a couple more laps of racing out of it. Looks like through the nature of how the sequence did go, Zach Millett only got dropped to 6th position, so we'll see if he's able to get over that little hump in about probably 17 minutes of racing, which should equal right around 18 or so laps, I'd predict, to finish this thing out. And Tamira will be doing his very best to run smooth, quick laps and try to build up as much of a lead as possible in order to finish this thing out in his favor. So coming through the final little segment here, again this time by it'll be a single file restart, and see very early, there's not much of a restart zone here at Loudon Road, so he got on the gas super quickly, did Tamira, to take that green flag with 18 minutes left in the race. Brian Rose in second, and to the inside I think that's Steve Singer. He did end up pitting after all. So he is dropping all the way. Actually, he's on one of his EOLs, I believe. But looks like Tamira, he's going into the outfield section right here with Rose to his back bumper. A couple car lengths back. Millett in that 6th spot. He's only about 3 seconds behind. So in a better spot than he was on the first time around. So we'll see how he is able to hang on. Try to do whatever he can to get as big of a lead as he's able to, because he knows that Millett is going to be coming with a vengeance. See Millett here getting by Truxell with Short just in front of him. He's going to get by Truxell. Truxell is just going to go high and wide and get out of the way. He's going to try to go 2 for 1 here, and I think he's going to do exactly that. I don't think Short is going to fight him too hard. And exactly that, so up to 4th, but now he's 4.2 seconds back, so we're in a very, very similar position to as we were in the first segment, about 15 minutes to gain about 4 seconds, but unfortunately for Millet, he does still have 2 cars in front of him, which we'll see how aggressively they do fight him, and if they do end up hurting him with that gap at all, so that'll be something of note. And Brian Rose goes around. So that is going to help causes for Millet once more, and now he's going to only have one less driver to have to navigate until he gets to our race leader. Estimating my lap estimator is off, but again we're at about 55. We're just under a minute left. A minute per lap, excuse me, and we do have 15 minutes left, so I'd estimate roughly 16 laps left in tonight's race, so we'll see what does happen. We'll pull up our lap times again on the left side of your display so you can get a look at who is doing what here tonight. Looks though at the moment, and Tamira, it's kind of hard to tell with Tamira just because of the blinking issues. It is, you know, not allowing us to get a good indication of lap times from him. But this time by we do, and he's in the 55s to Millet running a 56. So that time by, you know, he definitely did have the jets on. Did Tamira. And here comes Millet to the inside of Nethery. So that's going to put him into P2, 4.5 seconds or so to make that time up, and he has 15 minutes to do it. Our ticker is estimating some time here, and I don't know, it's not very accurate, so I'll do my best to dictate how many laps actually are left given some of the back end info I have separate from what is displayed on our ticker right now. Here, it does look like Nethery may be falling into the clutches of Short. That's a battle for the 3rd spot. See some interesting action heading into the right-hander, into the outfield section. Short made some contact there with Nethery. That sent him wide. He did lose a bunch of time, so he will have to relinquish the shot he had at the 3rd spot and try to collect himself up for another go at it. Closest battle on the track right now is what we have right here. Tamira up by those 4 seconds, and again, they're kind of trading blows with lap times up front right now, so the lead has been overall going down, I will say, but again, it's kind of sometimes Tamira will lose a couple tenths here and there. Sometimes he will actually gain the time, but it does seem to be leveling out in a way that does benefit Millet for the most part. But again, 4 seconds is a lot of time to make up, and again, we have 13 minutes. Kind of, I don't think the ticker of estimating 18 is going to be accurate, but we'll take it for what it is and update as we find the accurate information. Truxell in that 5 machine trying to close back into Short. That's only about 3/4 of a second. It's our closest active battle on track right now. Just ahead of that. And Short did lose all that time to Nethery, so he's trying to eat into that as best he can. But currently lap times are, you know, again, pretty much for the most part, everybody's running within a couple tenths of each other. Tamira and Millet are the only ones really flirting in the 55-second bracket. Everybody else is pretty stable in the 56s. 5 guys on the lead lap. We do have Singer in 6th, Rose in 7th, Brian Rose in 7th, Eddie Rose in 8th. That is who we have left right now in our race as we close in on 11 minutes left in tonight's efforts. Got the lead down to 3 seconds, so last time by, Millet had him by a whole second. So that is the biggest variance we've seen thus far. Not sure if Tamira made a mistake somewhere out there, but if he keeps that pace up, most certainly Millet is going to have this race under wraps. But of course, getting there is one thing, passing is another, as we all know. So we'll see how wide Tamira does make that car, if indeed he does get there at all, because you never know. 10 minutes is enough time that, he may very well, Millet may make a mistake himself. If he is human, he's prone to making them just like everybody else is, so we'll see what does happen, but the time is ticking off. The race is just hitting 10 minutes to go. So again, we're estimating about 15 laps on thicker. My guess is it's more about 12 laps to go. But let's go ahead and we can go through the field very quickly for you. Tamira is in the first spot. He started first, currently running first, but the gap is quickly shrinking. Two-time winner this season, Zach Millet, running in second. He's had the double EOL penalty, and he's trying to work through it. Jason Nethery in third. From that second-place starting position, Vincent Short running in the 4th position. Mark Truxell running in the 5th spot. And then we have Steve Singer running in 6th, and Eddie Rose is running in 7th. Brian Rose and Kevin Feemster have retired from tonight's efforts. Lead 2.5 seconds. It's just so hard to tell. Last time by, we were only about 2.5 tenths separating the two. And it didn't look like Tamira got through the outfield section very well because he lost a bunch of time, but it looks like he's gaining it back, or it just may just be the reference points of how the relatives work. We'll see what it is at the stripe this time by. It looks like 3 tenths to Millet. Now, if we just do some very quick math, 3 tenths a lap, I'm estimating 9 laps to go. He's going to get there probably within 3 or 4. So, but does he have enough to get by would be the million-dollar question, which is what we have to stay tuned to find out. Where is he going to make the move? Is he going to make a mistake trying to get by? Is he going to slow down trying too hard because he can see it right there in his grasp? These are all very common things that happen when you are chasing down somebody after a full race. So Tamir is definitely going to have a lot to take that is positive out of tonight's race, because he is going to know that he held him off as best he could. But another factor that is definitely not in Millet's best interest is all of the blinking that's been happening from Tamira, because if they do start getting into close quarters competition, if Tamira starts blinking, having those connectivity issues, that is going to hurt quite significantly. That's going to hurt Millet's efforts, as he's not really going to know what's going on. He's not going to have those references to know that, maybe he's here, maybe he's there. I don't want to wreck him. I don't want to have any issues, but at the same time, I have to know, I have to go for it. So that's what these connectivity issues do. two drivers. So that definitely, I think, is going to come into play here. As we're about 7.5 minutes to go, and the gap is down to 1.2 seconds. Now we're down to less than a second. So you see here, coming into the outfield, gap is about 3/4 of a second. Tamira is definitely going to have to start mirror driving right now. Millet definitely has the pace and has the car, has the skill. He has everything he needs to make something happen here. And here he comes, coming through the little chicanes here, coming onto the front straightaway on the oval. And now we're at a half a second. That is 6 minutes to go at the stripe this time by. So David Tamira is going to have his hands full here. We'll see what Millet is able to do. Hard on the brakes here into the right-hander. He's going to gain about 2 or 3 car lengths in the process coming up the hill. Tamira is just running smooth and steady, but I don't think smooth and steady is going to cut it when you have this competition in your rear-view mirror right now. See, it looks like Tamira has been faster, I think, through this section. I think he's overall had a better run through here, but this Millet is just so much more aggressive. Actually, Millet got a good cut there, and now he's going to try to set himself up maybe for a crossover move. Tamira took a defensive line into those chicanes, but now here we come onto the front straightaway where the slipstream is going to be a determining factor. Here he comes to the inside, taking a look. He's going to go down to the flat. Tamira is going to have the banking there, which is going to help him, just pure NASCAR style. It's actually going to give him the ideal running space into this right-hander. Tamira is going to go to the inside. Millet really drove it in deep there. They're going to go side by side up on the outfield, up the hill into the carousel. I think Millet is going to clear, and he most certainly will. Now, can he get away? Does Tamira, is he going to be able to use the draft enough to maybe give himself any kind of fighting chance? Coming to 4.5 minutes to go, so roughly 5 laps to go in actuality, to negate the estimate that the ticker says. Because it should be roughly about 5 to go, maybe 4, depending on how nice the ticker does, rather the iRacing codes want to be. But we thought we had a battle shaping up between Short and Truxell. They've been kind of in close proximity for a good portion of this race, and Short is hanging on by about a second ahead of Truxell at the moment. And Singer still that lap down in 6th. Eddie Rose 4 laps down in the 7th spot. Up front, it looks like Millet has gotten about a 1.5-second lead on Tamira. So I think, barring any massive mistakes, he's going to do the first to worst. He's got to do it twice, and that's only going to make it harder for him, because now he's going to escalate to the 3-win penalty if he is able to take this home. The 3-win penalty, he can't, for roval races, so actually that's not going to be the case. So a traditional racetrack, he can't qualify. You get an EOL on the pace lap and a stop and go on the first green flag lap. So if he manages to get a stop and go and come back for the win, I mean, that's just Herculean. So I don't think anybody can sustain that, but I think he will definitely accept the challenge. And with the challenge that Mid-Ohio offers, it will definitely be a track that most guys will be making mistakes at. And it will open the door to maybe, gain some Hail Mary passes and things on those lines. Coming to the stripe this time by, it's going to be right about 2 minutes of racing left. And now we're at about a 2-second gap for your race leader. He's doing the best he can to hang on, and at this point he doesn't really need to do anything crazy. Do have Brian Rose just giving some details that a wheel came detached and it just wouldn't, could not limp it home. Remember, he was running about second or third and then had an issue, so that's unfortunately what happened to him as Tamira exits the outfield section. And we're going to go and start one more lap. It's going to be 1 minute and about 20 seconds on our timer right now. So this will be, 2 laps to go in the race. Not really any active battles going on right now. So, all Millet has to do is just run one smooth race. Well, 2 more smooth laps, and the race will be his for the 3rd time this season. And it'll be that much harder for him going 4th, because he's going to have that significant win penalty that I just spoke of to interfere with his efforts. And the only other driver who has a significant win penalty is Steve Singer, who was not really able to recover from it today. Didn't really have the run he was ideally looking for, but 33 seconds on the timer, 30 seconds right now coming to the stripe, so this should be the white flag. I know the ticker says 5 laps to go. The software is just not estimating properly, but I can assure you that this will be the white flag. It will pop up on the display in due course. We are at 15 seconds in our race timer right now. Definitely missed the corner there, did Millet, but able to hang on. You can see everybody else well separated. Tamir did fall back 2 seconds. But yep, that is the final lap. That is our timer switching over there, and our white flag displaying on the ticker. So again, white flag here. We only have about half of a lap to go. And we'll come down out of the outfield into the final chicanes here on the inside of oval 3 and 4. Tamira did get a good run, but this doesn't have enough. He charged back to a second, and Zach Millet is going to win here at Loudon. David Tamira is going to come in second, and just exiting the turn 3 and 4, oval 3 and 4 corners, Jason Nethery is going to finish in the 3rd spot. And these guys will take their laps around and do their victory, and he will do his victory lap for Zach Millet. He'll do that in just a second, but let's go ahead and do our post-race show. Give you the final results here tonight from Loudon, and we'll try to see if we can grab these guys for a quick word. And Zach Millet with that win by about 1 1/3 seconds over Tamir. Nethery in second. Nethery in third, Vincent Short in 4th, Mark Truxell in 5th, Steve Singer, 6th car finished in 6th, Eddie Rose in 7th, Brian Rose in 8th, and then Kevin Feemster rounds out our field of drivers here this evening. So let's see if we can catch up with our race winner here tonight. All right, Zach, you pulled off the last to first. You did it again with that two-win incident penalty on you. I know you had a good, hard fight catching Tamir. Kind of talk about the race and trying to get by him there in that last segment.
Man, after the first segment, I barely got to him, and that was actually like a longer segment than the last half there. And I really didn't see myself getting to him at all. He was running fast laps, and he was running clean. And I think I just got lucky the second half there and got through the field a little quicker. But yeah, it was right down to it. I was banking on maybe finishing like 3rd.
Yeah, it seemed like, you basically were trading laps, but he just kind of made a couple more mistakes in the end. You seemed to be a little bit more methodical, but this is one of those tracks where, this is kind of an obscure track for the Radical. I know you guys are going to be running a lot of Rovals and stuff this year. How much of this track did you know coming into it, and, how much practice did you put in to kind of get comfortable with it?
Well, this is the first time I've run it. I did one practice session by myself, probably 20-30 minutes, and then I did one for probably an hour before this, and it's a fun track. You were right, man. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I absolutely love this place in a Skippy. I don't know if I could take it out in a Radical. Maybe that'll be added to my list. But any shout-outs you want to give for tonight's victory?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you and PTR TV for the broadcast. You guys always do an awesome job. I'd like to thank the Scar Racing Series and Steve, everybody behind the scenes, for making this league possible. It's a lot of fun. A lot of great drivers in it. And shoot me a follow on Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram at ThatS4Guy.
All right, 10-4, man. We'll be talking to you in a few weeks at Mid-Ohio, I'm sure.
Hell yeah. Can't wait.
All right, now I've caught up with second place David Tamir. You had a great run, my friend. You led a lot of the race. Unfortunately, Zach just had a little bit too much pace for you at the very end. Just talk about how your evening went.
Wow, it was great. And before the meet, I know Zach is gonna catch me at any time. And then after the restart, he started back again, and then he was so fast. And then when he come next to me, behind me, I just let him go. He's really fast. I have to give it to him. But I had fun.
Yeah, that's what it's all about in the end. And, sometimes at these tracks that you don't run too often, it's better just to finish second instead of spinning it out and losing those positions. How much experience did you have here with this specific layout that we had tonight?
I did one race before this in my league. So I had one experience over here, but not with Radical, with the GT4.
Yeah, any amount of experience obviously will help out, and it gave you a good shot at a win, but just one position short. Any thanks or shout-outs you want to give here tonight?
Always you guys, because I was enjoying it after the race, tiring, and then watching while having dinner. So I thank you guys. And then second, I thank Steve to put this one together. That's it.
All right. Well, congrats again, and have a good rest of the evening.
Thank you, Corey.
And now I have third place here today, Jason Nethery. You got a copy, my friend?
I got you.
All right. You had a couple battles here over the course of the evening, mainly with Short and Truxell, at least from what I saw. Kept it nice and clean, at least from what I saw as well. Talk about your evening for us.
Once again, I got to get to these guys. Had a lot of hard, clean racing. Had a lot of fun with these guys. On my second race with them, and I'll definitely be coming back.
And talk about the challenges of this place. Obviously, it's a different combo than most of these guys are used to. But did you kind of have fun with this layout? Is it something that kind of gave you some challenges, or did you kind of take to it?
Oh, the challenges were definitely there. I had not lapped this course until I practiced for this event, and it was definitely a challenge. I've never seen anything quite like this one. So put in some practice time this week and last, and got the feel for it. But, man, I don't think I wouldn't miss this if we didn't come back.
Yeah, this definitely is the most obscure Roval, at least that I can think of off the top of my head. But well, you did a decent job at least getting a podium effort out of it. Any shout-outs you want to give?
Yeah, absolutely. To my team, Indy Autosport, and our sponsors, Sim Racer Coin, Sim Thunder, and Martin Sports. And, of course, to you guys for putting this together in the broadcast. Much appreciated.
All right, not a problem, my friend. You have a good rest of the night. Maybe we'll be talking to you soon.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, so that is our post-race interview. And again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in here to the Scar Radical Series at Loudon. And congrats again for his third win of the season to Zach Millett. Make sure you like and subscribe if you have not done so. Of course, we're on Facebook today, so if you haven't liked and followed on Facebook, we would appreciate that as well. So Corey Silva signing out of the booth tonight. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.